The story begins in 1968, a year full of protests, fear, and hope in the United States. The Vietnam War is in full force. Young men are being drafted and sent to fight. Many believe the war is wrong. Across the country, people protest in the streets demanding peace and justice. In Chicago, thousands of protesters are planning to gather during the Democratic National Convention. Their goal is to speak out against the war. The organizers are from different groups, each with their own style and beliefs. Among them are Tom Hayden and Rennie Davis of Students for a Democratic Society, smart, focused, and political. Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin from the Yippies, loud, funny, and rebellious. David Dellinger, a peaceful family man. Bobby Seale, co-founder of the Black Panther Party, who barely even knows the others. They come to Chicago with the hope of peaceful protest. But the government sees danger instead. When the protests turn violent, partly due to aggressive police and the National Guard, the Nixon administration decides to make an example out of the protest leaders. They charge 8 men with conspiracy to incite a riot. This is not just a trial, it's a message. As the courtroom lights flicker on, the stage is set for one of the most shocking legal battles in American history. These men are not just fighting for themselves. They are fighting for the right to speak, to resist, and to be heard. The trial begins in 1969. The mood inside the courtroom is tense. The judge is Julius Hoffman, an old, strict, and biased man who clearly does not like the defendants. He confuses the names of the accused, refuses to listen, and shows open disrespect to their lawyers. From the beginning, Bobby Seale is treated the worst. He doesn't even have his own lawyer, yet the judge demands that he stay silent. Bobby asks to represent himself, but the judge refuses. At one point, the judge orders him to be tied to a chair and gagged in the courtroom. This horrifying image shocks everyone. How can this happen? In a courtroom? In front of a jury? Meanwhile, Abby Hoffman turns the courtroom into a stage. With his long hair and sharp tongue, he mocks the court and brings attention to the absurdity of the situation. "This is a political trial," he says. "We're being tried for our ideas." Tom Hayden tries to stay calm and serious. He believes in the system and wants to prove their innocence logically. But even he begins to lose faith. No matter how much evidence they present, the judge shuts them down. Witnesses are dismissed. Truth is ignored. Outside the courtroom, protests continue. People chant, sing, and scream for justice. But inside, the walls feel cold. This is not just a legal fight. It's a battle of power, race, and truth. The system feels rigged, and hope begins to fade. As the trial drags on, it becomes clear that the courtroom is not a place for justice. It's a battlefield. The government brings in undercover agents as witnesses. They claim the protesters planned violence. But under cross-examination, the lies begin to crack. Abby Hoffman smiles as one agent reads his own past jokes out loud, unable to understand the irony. The court becomes a strange theater. Humor becomes a weapon, but behind the jokes, the pain is real. Tom Hayden continues to struggle. He wants people to see that they're not just radicals, they are young men who care deeply about their country. But no one seems to listen. He watches as the media twists their words. Even his father watches the news and wonders if his son is a criminal. Meanwhile, Bobby Seale is still chained, silenced, and ignored. His lawyer has died, and no one seems to care. Day after day, he sits in that courtroom, humiliated and broken. Eventually, under pressure, the judge declares a mistrial for Bobby. He is removed from the case, but the damage is already done. Now they are the Chicago 7. Outside, the country watches. Young people protest, celebrities speak out, and public opinion begins to shift. But inside the court, the system holds on to its power. Justice moves slowly, if at all. One day, a surprise witness enters the courtroom. Ramsey Clark, the former U.S. Attorney General. He testifies that he had investigated the protests and found no evidence of conspiracy. But Judge Hoffman refuses to let the jury hear his words. The truth is spoken, but not allowed. Still, this gives Brian and the defense a sliver of hope. The truth is out there, even if it's locked behind courtroom walls. Meanwhile, the relationship between Tom and Abby starts to change. They come from different worlds. Tom is quiet, political. Abby is loud, rebellious. But slowly, they begin to understand each other. They are both fighting the same enemy, injustice. In a moment of vulnerability, Abby tells Tom that the system never cared about people like them. He jokes, but his eyes say something else. He's tired. He's been fighting for too long. And Tom, tired of following rules that never protected him, finally speaks with fire. During closing statements, he yells out in court, furious that the judge silences their voices, erases their facts, and rewrites their story. You think it's a joke. You think it's all theater. Well, I'm done pretending. It's no longer just about winning the trial. It's about being seen, being heard, being human. The jury leaves to decide the verdict. Hours turn into days. The defendants wait in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Outside, the world watches. Then the courtroom fills again. The judge enters. The room holds its breath. 5 of the 7 men are found guilty of inciting riots. But the judge quickly begins handing out harsh sentences. Even before the appeals process, it feels like punishment, not justice. Then something powerful happens. In his final moment in court, Tom Hayden stands up and reads aloud the names of U.S. soldiers who died in Vietnam while the trial was happening. The list is long. The room falls silent. Even the judge cannot stop him. It is a moment of truth. No speeches, no anger, just names, just lives lost. The story ends not with victory, but with dignity. Later, the convictions are overturned. The truth rises, slowly but surely. The Chicago 7 go free, but the wounds remain. An epilogue reveals that the real men continued to fight for peace and justice. Some went on to teach, write, or organize. Some never fully healed. But their trial, unfair, painful, and absurd, sparked a national conversation about protest, power, and the cost of speaking out. They were not heroes. They were young men who stood up when it mattered. And because they stood, others followed.